I'm so fired up with learning about how to really change ourselves. You hear that you know you need to change yourself. You know you want to do certain things, but you're like, I don't know how, Randy. How do I change myself? Okay, this book right here gives you the blueprint. Okay, there are no excuses from this moment on that you cannot change yourself. You know, there's a lot of. I'm gonna talk about some serious stuff on this call as well too about changing your state of being. We can do it. So before we get started, you know I love to share some videos with you. But before we start that, who do we got on the call? Great morning, everybody. Great morning, great morning. Let me get some shout outs here. Who do we have? Mr. Trader Mig, what's going on? Great morning, Miguel. Great morning, Mr. Shannon Stewart. Great morning, Ms. Francis Rodriguez. Who else do we have? Nico and Jeanette out of Germany. Buenos tardes. It is afternoon over there. Great afternoon. Latoya, great Monday. Miss Demeter McGee and Luane, great morning. Stephanie Perez, great morning. Dorcas and Anthony, great morning. G, great morning. Miss Sherelle Pierre out of the Bahamas, let's go. Great morning. Fatima, great morning. Miss Dion Tammon, great morning. April Roper, great morning. Mr. Nick Richardson, great morning. Miss Sylvia Ball, that's energy right there. Great morning, let's go. Mr. Chairman Chuck, great morning. Miss Johnita Cherry, great morning. Mr. Seafood Benavides, great morning. Irby, great morning. Janice, great morning. And I know there's so many others. Emily, great morning. LaShonda, great morning. And all the Legacy fam and all those who have hopped on you Legacy fam too. Great morning, great morning, great morning. As we get ready to start our next chapter, folks, Overcoming Time in the Habit of Breaking Yourself. Absolutely powerful book. If you don't have the book, maybe it's your first time on the call. We do mentorship calls every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This call is for everybody. Doesn't matter what you do. Our goal is just to help you elevate your life, elevate your personal life, elevate your business life, just help you become a better person. So the book we have chose for this, and I always say for a month, 2 weeks, is The Habit of Breaking Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So far, we are on chapter 4. Okay, if you have not picked up the book, I'm going to suggest you pick up the books. Trust me. Our motivation, our mentorship calls alone is not enough. You actually reading it, putting it in this system right here. This is what you want. I promise you that. Okay. So before we hop into this, let me go ahead and share a video with you. You know, I've been finding videos. One of my favorites, kind of an old school. I say old school, but Matrix. Some of you are gonna want to go back and watch Matrix again after all this. So we're gonna just play a quick episode before we start our talk right now, and let's go.
Output carrier signal so we can pinpoint your location.
What does that mean?
It means buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, because Kansas is going bye-bye.
Did you?
Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world?
This can't be.
Be what? Be real?
It's going into replication.
APOC?
Still nothing.
Let's go. Let's go.
Tank, we're going to need a signal soon.
I got a fibrillation.
APOC, location.
Targeting almost there.
He's going into arrest.
Lock, I got him.
Now, Tank, now. Welcome to the real world.
Welcome to the real world, huh? Welcome to the real world, folks. So this chapter we're going to get into is called Overcoming Time. Wonder if you were living in your past. You had no idea you were living in your past. And you've been trying to change this whole time, but your past keeps on occurring and you don't know how to change it. Man, wonder if that was so real. Well, according to what we're about to talk about today, that is very absolutely real. Just in a different form of living your past. And this is why it's so hard for people to change, okay? Change who you are, because in order to change your external world, right? In order to change the things that are happening around you, you must change as a person, because you are doing what we call conditioned responses to certain situations that are happening. So you have to keep on reliving that event. Okay, if you keep on responding a certain way, you're going to keep on reliving that event. It's like the Groundhog Day. Okay, waking up every day doing the same thing. You're like, okay, I got to figure this out and do something different. I need to go this way instead of going that way. Wonder if that was your life. Well, listen, that is your life, and you're the main character, and you get to change everything about it. I see we got a birthday here. Happy birthday, Mr. Michael Benavides. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Okay, so let's go and do a quick summary of the last chapter. If this is your first time on, folks, welcome. My name is Randy Webb. Me and my wife, Rhonda, we've been full-time entrepreneurs now for the past 7.5 years. So blessed and fortunate to be around such our success partners, our family, I Am Master Academy. And we've been in this community for 7.5 years total. Been in the industry, this company, 2.5 years. Prior to this company, I was a C-130 pilot in the Air Force. I spent about 15 years serving. I'm fortunate enough to go from an enlisted member to an officer. And I started thinking about a lot of things that went into this book, and a lot of that stuff I got to live. I just didn't understand how the manifestation happened. Okay, so a lot of this we're going to talk about you changing as a person. You know, I changed as a person coming through the military, and I look back at this at past experiences now, and I understand why. Now I'm going to talk to some of my veterans on here. There's going to be a serious conversation. I'm going to talk about PTSD on here. Okay, because this chapter really summarized it up while we keep on reliving certain events and really how to actually break it. Okay, something so serious, but at the same time, we're going to talk about those who are in what you might call a failure loop. We're going to talk about how to transition that into a success loop. Okay, because that requires you changing your state of being. So in our last chapter, we talked about your thoughts. Okay. And your feelings with your emotions, when they become one, okay, that becomes your state of being. Now, we also talked about when you do things so many times in repetition, the way that our mindset and our body is set up to hardwire these things so it doesn't have to keep on doing these processes. It makes it very easy, and which takes you into a memorized state of being, which is a memorized thoughts and feelings that are just stored. And what happens is when certain experiences or events keep on happening, you have emotions of that occur. Well, he's going to break that down even more in this chapter, okay? And so when the body becomes the mind, remember we talked about that. This is why 95% of your day is done subconsciously, meaning you don't even know what happens. Your body is just doing the thing. It's automatic. And so a lot of us, I like to call it zombie mode, okay? We are basically going off conditioned responses of what we know. And what they're going to talk about, because I'm going to take you back, he's going to talk about how you're really living in the past, okay? Because that's how our body is set up, to just go, okay? You don't even have to think these days about certain things that you're doing. And because you're not conscious about it, you may keep on reliving your past, okay? And so these things become habits after we do them for so long of a time. Remember, when the body remembers better than the mind, that's when obviously the body, okay, that's when it becomes a habit. Let me say it again. When the body, meaning you just do things, remembers better than the mind, that's when you create a habit. For example, when I talked about you driving to work, have you ever driven to work, okay, and you get there, and then you're like, how did I even get here? I don't even remember driving to work. Your body has taken control, okay? Your body is thinking greater than the mind, which now has become a habit, okay? And sometimes if those habits are very bad, okay, we will keep on living our past based off our habits, based off our conditioned response. We can't even help it, okay? And as you realize in this industry of network marketing or in the industry of entrepreneurship, okay, we can't go off conditioned responses because our conditioned responses were based off being an employee, okay? Our conditioned responses were based off being told what to do 30, 40 years of our life. Our conditioned responses was based off what our parents taught us to do. So if you grew up in poverty, okay, it is no way that you can become rich based on conditioned responses, based on past habits. You cannot get rich. And this is why we say, stop relying on your thinking, because your thinking will not get you to the promised land you're trying to get to, okay? Yes, it's a thought, you want it, but the emotion is not there because you have conditioned responses, okay? So let's go and jump right into the chapter where he talks about basically the body becomes the mind through a cycle of thinking and feeling. Very simple, right? You can take this note down. The body becomes the mind through a cycle of thinking and feeling. That means it goes to your subconscious. All I need you to know is when they say the body takes over, it's your subconscious. Your body is like your second brain, okay? It's conditioned response that is just moved, okay? So then we talk about what is an experience. Throughout this book, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about an experience, an event that happens in your life. And it triggers certain things because first, what? How does thoughts become things? And then what? Those things start becoming our thoughts because they become real, our environment around us. So an experience causes an emotional charge, which is what? A chemical reaction, okay? You're going to realize a lot of things about us. This is why it's you got to be careful, okay? We look at a drug addict and like, man, look, they're on this and they're on that. They're addicted. But what you're going to start to find as human beings, we're all addicts in something, okay? It may not be a physical drug in your mind where you see someone using a drug, but you are addicted to anger, okay? You're addicted to being depressed. You're addicted to being sad or just, in a funk. It became a part of you. And you got to be careful because you're going to put yourself in a cycle that you can't get out of. I just had a thought in mind, just some hilarious stuff. Maybe some of you might get this. Listen, some of you watched the movie Candyman back in the day, right? Some of you watched the movie Candyman, right? We grown adults, we still won't go in the restroom and say it 3 times. No, okay, we ain't gonna play around with that, okay? I want you to think about, as I talk to you about certain thought processes, okay? It's almost dangerous, okay? A stray thought is like a stray bullet. Wonder if you want to test this theory out. You said, man, I want to see if you're a happy person. I want to test this out and see if Randy is right, if I really get into a loop, right? Let me act depressed. And then you start acting depressed and telling everybody you're depressed and this and that, blah, blah. You start feeling it. And then all of a sudden your body makes it an event, an experience, and you get an actual emotion. It triggers off an actual emotion. And now you get into this thinking and feeling process. And then it becomes memorized. And then before you know it, you really are depressed and you can't get out of it. You're in your own matrix, okay? You're in your own reality right now. We're talking about serious stuff, right? Your own reality right now that you're living, and people are looking at you, well, how? Okay? And they don't understand it. Well, this is giving you the understanding, the actual science behind it. I mean, this is absolutely real, studied, certified, okay? And so an experience may cause an emotional charge, okay, a chemical reaction that you may be addicted to. Then that becomes your thought. So what we're talking about is now your external environment, running your thoughts, okay? And so your external environment running your thoughts about a past event, and then that thought becomes your memory, okay? And here's what he says. If you keep thinking about the memory repeatedly, what happens? You keep on reliving the emotion. And if you keep on reliving that, what happens? Your body is going to hardwire it. It says, hey, they like this. They keep on going back to it. Okay, go ahead and store it. They're yelling up to the party. Hey, remember the apartment. They like the feeling. They keep on going back to that event. They like feeling sad. They keep on thinking about this one thing that happened to them and they want it. So go ahead and store that in the permanent memories, okay? And so now your mindset stores it and it says, forget that. It's no longer a thought anymore, okay? It's now your memorized emotion. So what he's going through in this chapter, okay, remember we talked about a memorized state of being. So now what he's doing is he's taking the big thing and he's taking it down for you, okay? So we talked about a memorized state of being. What is a memorized state of being? Well, first, what is a state of being? A state of being is when your thoughts and emotions come together to make one. That's your state of being. That's who you are. Okay. Well, now he's talking about, well, how do we get there? So we're going to talk about how all of this becomes automatic. And I know as we're going down these chapters, you're going to start figuring out here that you really didn't have a decision about who you became based on your environment that you grew up in. Okay. Why? Because a lot of things became memorized or conditioned responses that eventually became your personality. Okay, so now he's talking about how we store our memorized emotions. So he says when thought, memory, and emotion merge to become one, it then becomes an emotion, which becomes a memorized emotion because we keep on repeating back. So let me give you a scenario. And so he goes off to talk about your autonomic nervous system, meaning your automatic nervous system. So wondering, how do you breathe right now? You're not even thinking about breathing, okay? You don't think about chewing and swallowing, right? These things just happen, okay? That's your automatic nervous system. Well, that's what our memories and thoughts and everything can act the same way to the point that our body is moving and creating our personality for us. Are we really living our own reality? Are we living in our past? What are we doing? We're walking around really like we are really physically robots that are being controlled by ourselves. Okay, so this is what happens when you go through a traumatic experience. Okay, something that happens traumatic in your life, it engraves an imprint on your brain, which may impact you for the rest of your life. Okay, traumatic experiences hold people back and they don't know how to get over them. It's a traumatic loop, unfortunately. So, you know, he gives a story inside this chapter about, just imagine you have your dog that you love, okay? You know, you love your dog and you come home one day and that dog is gone, right? Died. You see it on the floor, lying down, is there. I may be triggering some emotion right now for someone right now because that happens to you, okay? Just by me stating it. You have a memorized emotion. If you get emotional right now, I'm talking about a pet dying. That means you have it stored in your mind and you're now reliving the event. Okay, so now anytime that you see a dog or something that reminds you of your dog, you go back and you keep on remembering, okay, what happened to your dog till eventually it becomes a memorized emotion. Okay, and this is what you have to be careful about, even to the sense, and I'm not saying don't be, you know, we say sensitive and insensitive, don't be insensitive to people, but on a science level, man, it's kind of scary. Okay, you know, we can even talk about, you know, the celebration of life. When someone passes, someone good passes. This is why we have to celebrate it, right? Because, you know, one thing that's certain for all of us is death. Okay, and it's gonna happen. But imagine, you know, most people will relive it every year because they go visit, you know, the tombstone, because that's just who we are, right? If you realize what humanity is and what human beings, we like to go, we like to memorize these things. Okay, we idolize these things. And unfortunately, by us doing that, we are internally creating emotions that will never go away, which is a memorized emotion. We want to remember these things, okay? Now you can remember something. Some people have, if you look at this point, the death of something, right? You can create an emotion that's great, okay? Where you don't think about the person not being here, okay? You think about the greatness, the legacy that person's left, which now when you think about them, you don't get sad, okay? You celebrate what they've left behind. You celebrate their legacy. You have a good feeling about what's happened. It's a celebration of life. You understand? There's two different ways you can look at death. And a lot of us, okay, we're scared of it, okay? But this is why it's a legacy. You understand? What do you leave behind? And so I want you guys, it's a thought twist. It is. So my veterans, you know, let's talk about it, all of us, okay? And it's not even just veterans, folks. If you come from a bad neighborhood, or you come from a neighborhood that's gang infested, most likely you have something called post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay, this is what they label it. I don't really like the labels, but this is how they label it, and this is what people continually, because people will reinforce this. Okay, I will not reinforce it. You know, every member out of the military, pretty much, who's been overseas to Afghanistan, Iraq, has some shape or form PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, if they've seen something, which they have. Okay, but just like, you know, growing up in the hood, I've seen things there, and I remember going to my counselor. Okay, and you know, sometimes what military members do, okay, we get over it, and most people think it's weird, but it's like, how do you get over it? Okay, you don't think about it. And now that I'm looking at this book, I think it's a good thing. Okay, and some of you are like, what do you mean you don't think? No, you cut off the emotion. Okay, And so I want you to think about this. I was talking to my counselor, and I remember she's asking me about my past, and she's analyzing my response. And she's like, so growing up, did you have friends did you lose friends? I said, yeah, I lost friends, like, and it was really no emotion there. I didn't have a memorized emotion to be hurt or sad. So yeah, I've lost friends, I've this, that, right? Most people want to see you relive the emotion. That's basically what she was saying. She wanted me to cry and be sad about it. Okay. And I get it. Same thing applies in the military. You've seen some things, maybe you had some buddies, or I was a pilot. Okay. I got folks that unfortunately do some things that happen in the aircraft, right? They're not here on this earth today. They've given the ultimate sacrifice to this country. And so imagine seeing those things. It's going to create an event for you. Okay. A traumatic event. So it may be, for me, for example, and I don't have this, but if I was to see an airplane, it could be anything. So this is explained as a conditioned response. And when you go through these traumatic things that have now been tied to an emotion. Now, what makes it hard is when it gets tied to an emotion. Okay. So when we talk about stress, okay, so that means when you see the event, you stress about it. It's happening. So PTSD, folks. Loud. Okay, you hear loud sounds, or maybe something that sounds like a gunshot. Okay, maybe something that sounds like a missile. Okay, why? Because every time you heard that response, listen, I'll just tell you, when I was deployed to Afghanistan, okay, real stuff. I remember the first time it happened to me. I'm walking on the base, getting ready to head back to my bunkers, and all of a sudden, for the first time ever, now they have taught us how to go run for shelter. Okay. Every single time, like you hear a certain thing, you run for shelter so that nothing lands on your head. And so I hear this screaming noise. Sounds like 4th of July, y'all. Okay. And I remember the very first time. And I remember sprinting. We got these big concrete things, sprinting to these concrete barriers so I can get under them and sit there. And then you hear it, and then it pops somewhere, and you're hoping everybody's already hit shelter. Well, if you keep on, I want you to understand. Now I understand. I get it. Okay. This was a breakthrough for me. Like, wow. Okay, so imagine every time that I hear a whistle, whee, it triggers me to what? To do something. It triggers me to run, fight, because there ain't no fighting a missile. So it triggers me to run. I'm looking around, any things that happen. Okay, run. As a pilot, also, I'm telling my wife, like my kids be in the car. As a pilot, pilots are conditioned as well too. Okay. To look at every indicator in there. You see a light go off, your eyes, boom. You look at it, there's something you're in a climate. Okay. A sound goes off, we used to call it, I won't say the cuss word, but Betty. Okay. Betty says altitude, altitude, altitude. Okay. That's important. Okay. That means you better pull that dang on aircraft up. Altitude, altitude. So we're triggered when we hear certain things. There's a conditioned response. There's no thinking about it. So pilots, as a pilot, I've been conditioned to respond without thinking about it. Okay, altitude, back, look around. Okay, make sure it's in my pull back, get out of harm's way. Okay, automatic, because if I don't, we die. Okay, so some things you're going to need conditioned responses with, but you need to determine how you have them. So now, same thing. Now, those same things can cause harm. Okay, these can also, if it went bad, they can be post-traumatic stress disorder. They can cause certain things, and you have to be conscious about them, because if you are conscious about them, remember, 5% of you today is conscious, 95% of you are subconscious. Your body is taking control. So it's like the scene I showed you in Matrix, where you have your 5% conscious fighting 95% of your subconscious. Okay, that's a lot of fighting. Okay, you have to be going constantly physically about it until you change it so that it can become a new state of being, a new response. Okay, here's how this works. He says, what happens is when some stray thought or reaction happens out there, so my example will give you the whistle, okay? That whistle straying over. Let's say I'm out here in normal life. I hear a whistle. I'm looking around like, I now have a conditioned response. So how do I change it? Well, I'm aware of it. I'm aware of the conditioned response. So when I hear a whistle, okay, I have to physically say it's not, hey, folks, first of all, you in America. Okay, that ain't happening right here. You're not over there no more. Okay? And I change the thought, I laugh about it. So now, if I keep on laughing, every time I hear that whistle, I'm now training myself. It's not serious, it's funny. Okay? I'm reconditioning myself to change my state of being. So now my thinking and my emotions that come together for that one experience, okay, it's now new. I've changed myself as a person, okay? This is what you have to understand to do this. Otherwise, you're going to stay in the same loop for the rest of your life and you'll never get anywhere. This applies to our business as well, too. Okay, this study was done in 1890 by a psychologist by the name of Pavlov, a scientist. Anybody know Pavlov? Anybody been through psychology class? They talk about this, the conditioning of the dogs. That's, okay, when he was doing that, here's how this scientific study went. What he would do was, he said, he would take a response along with a thing, okay? So for the dogs, he had these dogs that were chained up, and he would bring a nice juicy steak out, okay? But what happened was they would always use the stimuli. So the bell would ring and the steak, okay? So the bell would ring and the steak. And so the dogs they start connecting the bell with the steaks, okay? And so every time the bell rings, the steaks will come out, okay? So what happens? Bell rings, steaks come out, the dogs see the steaks, they're salivating. Ooh, I'm hungry. Oh my God, it's so good. I can't wait. Oh my God. Okay? They get the steak, they eat it. Boom, he does it again. The bell rings, steak comes out, dogs are salivating. Ooh, we're eating again. And a couple times of doing that, then eventually, when the bell, see now the thought in the bell, the thing that's happening, okay? The steak, the visual, and now their emotion, the salivation, they're tasting the steak before it gets to them. Okay, so eventually now they connect the steak with the bell rings, it's already the emotion there. Okay, the emotion, the emotion is now taking over. Okay, it's a memorized emotion. And so what happens now is when he rings the bell, the conditioned response, the dog just starts salivating. Okay, the body said, okay, we don't have to see it, we know it's happening, okay, because it's happened so long. And so what he's getting at as we walk down this road is so long of doing that, it starts going into, remember we talked about, it becomes a part of your DNA. And this is called a conditioned response. Okay, just like the missile going over the barriers, certain things that happen to us, okay, that we're not conscious about. When our body becomes the mind, okay, it's now engraved into our basically our DNA and who we are, our personality, habits. Okay, so what are your conditioned responses? This is why it's very hard to change, and you have to be aware of that. You're like, Randy, I want to go chairman. I want to become a six-figure earner. I want to become a seven-figure earner, but you keep on having these conditioned responses that make you a $20,000 a year earner. Okay, that make you a $30,000 a year earner. You have to be just aware of that. Meaning, you can't rely on your thinking today to get rich. You can't rely on your thinking today to make six figures at all. You have no idea whatsoever. Okay, so this is where you have to rely on your coaches and your mentors. This is why you need a coach and a mentor to tell you, hey, listen, you keep on doing the same thing. Okay, in network marketing, for example, the start-stop syndrome. I'm gonna label that one the start-stop syndrome. What is that? Every time it gets hard, you go find something else to do. Okay, and so in what we do, let's talk about I am as a scenario. Okay, what we do, we have trading and we have building here. You're like, I want to go chairman. Let's go. I want to make this money. Let's go. You're excited. You're in the zone. You came up one of my calls on the high. You call your friends, and then your friend says no again, and you don't know that no has a conditioned response in you. That no causes you to go back every single time. That may be your stimuli. Okay, that's your bell. The no is your bell. Okay, your friends rejecting you is your bell. Okay, your parents rejecting you is your bell. Okay, until you go back. The start-stop syndrome. What happens? Okay, you get into a funk. You're building your business. You're going, and you get to maybe your conditioned response. After I get 10 no's, I fall back. Okay, if you notice, every time I do maybe 10 days or 30 days, I fall back. Okay, you, my friend, have conditioned responses. You, my friend, have memorized emotions. Okay, a memorized state of being, and you'll never get out of it. Meaning, I'm telling you, if I'm being transparent, you'll never become a chairman. You'll never become a six-figure earner based off these responses because you're going to keep on doing the same thing. You're actually living your past over and over and over again. Okay, you're still plugged in and you don't even know it. You don't know if you're in your reality or the real world. Okay, and so the start-stop syndrome, meaning you're excited, you're showing your folks, you're in there, maybe you even create a little bit of momentum. As soon as you create some momentum, you get to what? P1000 in our company in IM, right? Or whatever, if you're another company on here, you get to that a certain rank in your company where you create a residual income. And what happens? You're in a comfortable zone, a conditioned response, your comfort zone. Boom, I'm making $1,000 a month. I'm good. Okay, now I pull back because I'm conditioned to do that and I don't know it. And then what happens? My business starts to roll back. Okay, it rolls back to a certain point. You have a conditioned response to where it's at. It may be P600, it may be P150. You roll all the way back, and then boom, P150. Oh my God, my business fell back. You call up Randy and Wanda, you call up Sakina, you call Tammy, whoever. You call your upline, you're like, man, I don't know why my business keeps on falling back. I don't know what's happening. And really, you're happening to it. That's what's happening. Okay, you're living in the past. Your body is the mind. Okay, and you cannot stop it. And that's why when you do start thinking about it, you don't even know what happened. You don't even know why your business fell back because you're so conditioned. And then what happens again? You get it's almost like a hamster wheel, isn't it? Okay, I'm back in it, Randy. Hey, this time, Randy, let's not have this. I've heard people tell me this all the time. And I don't get upset because I know it's only human nature. Randy, I promise you, I promise this time is it. I'm in it to win it. I'm in it. I promise you on my mom, God, everything. They will give you all the promises, but they don't know. Okay, they can't help it. Okay, because that's the 95% subconsciousness working. Okay, and they got to be conscious. It's going to be hard, folks. What am I telling you? It's going to be hard to break yourself. Not the business is not hard. Are y'all getting me now? The business is not hard. What's hard is breaking you. Okay, that's what's hard. So when you say the business is hard, you're not saying the business is hard. You're saying I'm having a difficult time changing my state of being. I'm having a difficult time changing my persistency, my consistency. I'm having a difficult time, okay, trying to change this conditioned response that I always keep falling back on. Say, Randy, I don't know what happens. I seem to always get to P1000 and fall back. Okay, I get to P2000 and I fall back because I still keep on doing these same old habits. Okay, that you don't see. Listen, now here's the hard part. As a mentor, and this is why mentorship and coaching is so important. Okay, some of you keep on brushing your mentor off, you brushing your coaching off, and you really think that you're going to go to the next level. Okay, some of you are brushing maybe at your job. Okay, you do have a boss. You're like, your boss don't know what you're talking about. And they see it, and you're not listening. And you don't know that you have these responses. But this is why it's great for someone from the outside looking in to tell you about yourself. Hey, did you know you did this? Right? It's like sleepwalking. Okay? You don't know you're sleepwalking. Okay? Physically, see, we have this thing sleep where people really do sleepwalk, but you're really sleepwalking right now. Some of you are on this webinar right now. You see me, you're listening to me, but you're not hearing me. Okay, conditioned responses. You don't know. How do I know that? Because we could talk about something. I could be on here and talk about something and may apply all to you. And you'll go away and you'll be like, man, glad that ain't me. Glad that ain't me. And really it is you. It's your 95% you that's subconscious. Okay. The 5% you is not even conscious about what you do. Okay. Today it's time to wake up. Welcome to the real world, like they talk about. Okay. So how do we change it? How do we stop living in the past? So he says this is why we are living in the past. That's why it's overcoming time. Because what happens is everything that you do, okay, in repetition, eventually becomes hardwired into you. Okay, this is why the book, to become an expert at something, right? You have to do it 10,000 hours. Why 10,000 hours? Because you've done it so many times that the body becomes a mind. Okay, basically is what it's saying. You've done it so many times in repetition that you just start doing it. Okay, these be good and bad things. And so our body naturally, because a memory is what? A memory is in the past, isn't it? So if our body is memorizing emotions and memorizing how to get to work and memorizing things of the past, aren't you living in the past? Okay, let me say it again. Some people are like, what are you saying, Randy? Okay. If our body has come so far to memorize your thoughts, memorize the environment that's around you, right? Because you get home, you know, how do you know your house? How do you know what your house looks like today? Okay, I know I'm going to mess your mind up. How do you know what your house looks like today that you live at? Because your mind has remembered it. It's in a memory. And a memory comes from where? the past. So we are living in our past. Okay? I know some of you like, Randy, what? If you get to your house looks the same. You know your house looks. You remembered it. So therefore, if your body is the mind, that's why now consciously you're in the present. Now let me bring it back. Okay? You need to live in the past to get to your house. Meaning your body, your mind, which you get to your house by directions of you just knowing it. No one has to tell you how to get to your house. Why? Because your body is the mind. It knows how to get there already. Okay? But if we continually allow our body to think for us, if our body or our conditioned responses do the thinking, then all of that is from the past because it's a memory. So if you keep on basing everything you do off of memory, you'll continually live in the past. What do I mean by that? You ever have somebody you do a nice presentation and they go, you show them your opportunity, and then they say something like this: I've done something like this before and it wasn't good. What they're essentially telling you is, in the past, okay, it didn't work for me. So therefore it's not gonna work. They're living in the past. If you apply things you've done in the past to the things you have now, you're living in the past. Okay? And so if you came from poverty, maybe something that your mom or your dad or people around you taught you to do. You only live once, so you might as well spend it. Okay? And so you go, because you remember that, and you start applying that in your future. And what happens? Your past becomes your future. Okay? Money-wise, you've never been taught to save 10% or 20%, or to only your rent should be no more, or your living expense should be no more than 30% of your income. Okay? You've seen people use everything. And so you apply what your mama, daddy has taught you, a memory, because you have to memorize it, remember? For you to know what your parents taught you, have to memorize it. Okay? And so that means you go into your memory. My mom taught me this, my dad taught me this, and then you bring it to the future. And then what happens? Your past becomes your future. Your thoughts become things. This is why these things occur. Okay? This is why thoughts become things. Okay? Your thoughts are always going to become things. You will always manifest something. Okay? Remember, we're creators. So there's always a manifestation of something. Some of you are manifesting poverty without knowing it. Some of you are manifesting riches. Some of you are manifesting absolutely nothing. Okay? You're just going. Okay? So based on your thoughts becoming things, if you're manifesting poverty, how are you doing that? Well, what are your actions today? Okay? You're not putting away 10%. Okay? Because you weren't taught to do that. And so forth, you're doing what you're taught in the past. You're living in that, your past, your future. Okay, you haven't been taught to invest in stuff. I don't do the stock market because I've seen back in the day the stock market crash, or whatever you have in your memory, whatever emotion that created why you don't do it. Okay, it's always an emotion. And so you go back to, I don't invest in the stock market because I can lose money. Don't believe me. Let me tell you something. What my millionaire mentor told me some years back that I had to break. You know, when I was 18 years old, I was on my own, doing my own thing. I was a young teenage dad right before I went into the military. I remember getting my own apartment. I'm working my butt off, and listen, I'm doing good. And the day I get my rent, I remember going to the ATM, withdrawing the cash out. Okay, withdrawing the cash out, and I go to the store just real quick, but right before I'm going to go pay my rent. Okay, and I buy something. I come out. I get ready to go to the apartment complex, get ready to pay my rent, only to find out I don't have my wallet. I lost my wallet along the way. All my rent gone. Okay. Now, 18, I'm definitely living paycheck to paycheck. Okay. Look, to get rent, I had to save up one check. I had to save up one check, okay, and bring over something from the previous check to make the full rent. Anybody ever do that? Okay, that's not the right way to live. I'm just telling you right now, but that's how I was living. Okay, take a portion of this check. If I take a portion of this check, and then the whole check of this one, then I'm gonna be able to pay my rent. That's not the right way to live. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna have to break that. Okay, I have to break that. Well, here's what happened. It got conditioned in me. I lost money. That was a traumatic event for me. You know why? Because for the first time, I didn't understand it. You know, the Randy I am today, I wasn't back then. Okay, so I go to the office, the manager, innocently. I'm 18. I say, hey, I just lost my wallet. I don't have the rent. I literally was coming to pay the rent. Now, I want you to understand what's happening in the world. This matters because now I've been a landlord before. And the unfortunate part is landlords get conditioned too. You hear those same things all the time. You know, my dog ate my rent money, all the excuses, and then someone moves out on me. So you can imagine that landlord had no mercy on me, okay? Because they got a conditioned response like, you ain't telling the truth. Everyone says that. And so here I am. I really am. I lost my wallet. And so for me, they said, hey, you got 3 days to move out or find the money. 18. Okay, just my first apartment. So they're basically telling me you're evicted. You don't got a place to live. I got a young, my daughter Tasha is 22 today. Okay, my young baby, my wife at the time. I'm getting kicked out of my apartment. I don't come from an affluent family at all. I have nowhere to go. Okay. And I don't know that I can stay there for 30 days, by the way. I don't know. I don't understand the eviction process. I just know they just told me I got to move out in 3 days. 3 days or quit. And so they put the notice on my door. I know I ain't going to get it in 3 days. Okay. And so that traumatic experience did do something to me, to the point where I became a pilot in the United States Air Force. I even was making money in the real estate game. You know, we were already well above 6 figures. Wanda's already a nurse. Okay, I hadn't got into network marketing yet. And this traumatic experience, here's what it caused me to do for the rest of my life. Okay, it caused me never to carry cash on me. Never. And I used to say it, I don't carry cash on me all the time. I was prideful at it. Okay, I don't do those. I don't do network marketing. I want you to understand it. Okay, catch it. I don't carry cash on me. Okay, I'm only going to use cards because I don't want to lose my money. I have a conditioned response. And then I meet my first millionaire mentor. And I remember so clear, we're sitting at the table. We're in, I believe we're in Kentucky. We're all having a team dinner. He's right next to me. And he pulls out this wad of money. Thousands. I said, dang. I told him, I said, you carry all that money? Because remember, from my perspective, I don't carry money on me. I said, wow, you carry all that money on you? You crazy? Okay. He goes, what? You don't carry money on you? And then I go to explain to my situation because, you know, you want to explain why. Well, listen, mentor, here's why I don't. You know, and I talk about what I just told you. And he says, man, that's so sad. He said, for all these years, this has kept you from accumulating wealth because you feel you're going to lose it when you get it. And I'm like, and it hits me. And from that moment, my mentor broke that. I started carrying cash because this is what you need, a mentor and a coach to see your blind spots. Okay. You would be, you know, biblically it says you'll be a fool not to have counsel. Why? Because sometimes your counsel can be your spouse too. See your blind spots. But I need you to understand the importance of a mentor and coach. I just want to put that there because as I'm going through this, there's some things that we just can't overcome as human beings by ourselves. That's why you need these things. Okay. So for me at that time, that was, for me, my mentor helped me. He broke it. I started carrying cash. It was no longer an issue. Guess what? Opportunity seemed to came. That was one thing that was broken. We broke the conditional response. Okay. And so I need you to know that we're going to have to break the conditional response and recreate a new response. And so we talk about repetition. So let's talk about how it goes long term. So here's what happens. Repetition wise, I need you to be careful of your thoughts. I need you to be careful of your emotions. Okay. Because now it's time to recreate yourself. And so here's how it goes. When the emotions, so we already know how we get to emotions, right? Are we there? Can we understand how we get to a memorized emotion? So now being in emotion so long, it becomes a what? A mood. Okay. Woo! Now we're going longer. What is a mood? A mood is something, it's a chemical state of being. Now, I love the way he selects his words. Okay. A mood is a chemical state of being, generally that is short term. Okay. Which has an expression of your prolonged emotional reaction. Okay. Let me say a mood is based on an emotional reaction that you're having. It typically lasts hours or days. That's it. Okay. But however, if you stay in your funk, in your mood, okay, maybe you're in an angry mood. I'm angry. Okay. Maybe you're in a depressed mood. I'm depressed. You know, it can be happy too. Happy is great. Okay. Remember all these moods that you have. Mood swings. You have somebody they swinging everywhere. They don't know what they are. okay? Moods everywhere, okay? They're going through chemical reactions. It's like using different drugs, okay? You angry, sad, happy, man, you are an emotional wreck because you are going through so many chemical reactions, okay? But here's the scary part. I need you to catch this because I need you not to stay in moods because it's dangerous. Your emotion becomes a mood. Now you're in, it's going to add up, which becomes hours and days. Okay, let me bring this up, by the way. I actually have this here. I want you guys to physically see this. I need you to get this because this is how you're going to imprint. This is how you're going to change, okay? Here we go. So I'm going to talk you through this figure right here, okay? Create different states of being. And so what happens is your mood, okay? You have your experience, which creates a mood. So maybe something triggers you to make you sad. Something triggers you. You have PTSD. So you see that traumatic thing happen again. That experience happens. It creates a mood initially, okay? That's where it starts at. It lasts for hours or days. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I'm this. I'm that. Whatever, okay? That's cool. It goes away, hopefully. But if it doesn't go away, if you choose to stay in that mood, okay? That mood eventually becomes a temperament, okay? So temperament, well, now it's more of a long-term temporary. Temperament is is becoming who you are. Now it's lasting for weeks or months. So now you realize at a certain time during the season, okay, it can be during Christmas time or you feel a certain way all the time during seasons, okay? So boom, and this is why when you think now it's, let me pause. In network marketing, you'll hear people say, around this season, this is when it all slows down, it does this. And if you accept that, okay, as your state of being, that's what your business will always be, okay? If you accept that this is my mood at this time of the year, that's what it will always be because that's what you've accepted. Or what we like to say, that's what you've spoken into your life. Power of the tongue is life or death, okay? And so it becomes a part of your temperament weeks and months and eventually your temperament because you've held on to it so long. Your body says, man, I ain't going to keep on working this hard. You got me working. Let's just go and make it a part of the personality, okay? We're going to hardwire that thing in permanently. And now it becomes your personality. You're an angry person, okay? You're a sad person, okay? I am angry. I am sad. It becomes your identity, okay? Do you see how dangerous this is, okay? My PTSD folks, listen, okay? You know, I don't even like to say it, okay? But like I said, I'm going to say every military member has PTSD. What they label that we're in a label society, like Wanda said, okay? And because you're speaking into life, you keep on reliving the event. Stop speaking it into life, okay? Why do we say it? Because we want people to know. Look at me, look at me, look, this is what happened to me. Stop speaking the story, y'all. Listen, if I spoke my story of what happened to me in my past, you'd be like, Randy, how are you even here? Okay, because my past did not dictate my future because I don't even think about it. I don't talk past events. I talk future events. And I only want to talk to people who have future thoughts because that's what I want to stay in. I want to stay in the present and in front. I want to stay in the present and future. That's it. I don't want to live in the past. Okay, I don't want to go where my subconscious is trying to take me. I want to go where my conscious, who I am now, is trying to take me. And that takes some effort. So our emotions, okay, which can be triggered by our environment, depending if the body is running the mind and so forth. Remember this, if your environment triggers your emotions, your environment is running this whole cycle. Your environment became your personality, okay? Listen, depending on what's triggering your emotions will determine what makes your personality. So when I say I'm from the hood, okay, and there's certain hood things we do, what I'm saying is I have a hood personality. Okay, why? Because there's certain things, there's certain emotions and moods and temperaments that I had to have to survive my environment. Okay, now listen, coming from the hood, you had to be street smart. You had to understand some certain things you wouldn't survive. Okay, but those things don't serve you today because you're no longer in that environment. You understand me? Military members, you're no longer deployed in Afghanistan in the war zone. It doesn't serve you in the civilian environment, okay? Employees, okay? You're now entrepreneurs. What you did as employees no longer serve you in the entrepreneur realm. Are you hearing me? Okay, we have to change our state of being, and we have to stop responding to our environmental stimuli that are causing us not to get to where we want to become, which trigger those emotions. So remember, when an emotion is triggered, you have a decision. Cut the emotion off, reprogram it. Okay? And if you don't, emotions turn to your moods turn to your temperaments turn becoming your personality. Now it's hard to become successful. Now you're wondering, like, why is everybody having all the success and I can't? Okay? Why can I not get this together? And now you go into another funk. Because now you have these thoughts like, why can I? And that means you're feeling sad about it. Man, it's a vicious cycle. And so what we do right now, I want you to just break it. Okay? I want you to say, today is reset day. Clear thoughts. I pray that you have clear thoughts. Okay? Clear decisions. I pray that you have a clear path of where you're going. That is done. Okay? That's what I pray for you. That's what I want in your spirit, that you have a clear path to where you need to go to. Pray that prayer right now in your thought process, that you have a clear mind, a renewed mind. See what it says for those who read the Bible, okay, or whatever your foundation may be, okay, and it's going to say the same thing whether you're Muslim, whether you follow the Bible scriptures, whether you follow Hinduism, whatever that is, in some shape or form, it says the same thing, okay, the renewing of your mind. Keeping this thing clear to thought and controlling it. That's what you got to understand here. And so here's what it says. Our personality is based off how we think, act, feel, and it's anchored on our past. Let me say it one more time. Okay? The person you are today is anchored on the past. So if you're not where you want to be right now, okay, you say, I want to go chairman, Randy. I want to make 6 figures, dude. I want to make $100,000 a month. I'm like, I want that. Where I have people say, I need this. I need this, but they can't seem to change it. And that's because it's so ingrained in their personality, and what they don't realize, their current personality, okay, I need you to understand this. This is why we say you can't be who you are today. Some of you are trying to still be cool. You're trying to still sell the wall if you think you're going to make $1 million being cool who you are. No, you're not. You can't. This says you can't, because your personality of who you are today is based on how we think, act, and feel, which is anchored off of our past. So if that was the case, you would have already been a millionaire in the past. If that was the case, you would have already been a leader in the past. For you to be a leader today, based on your personality today, you would have to have been a leader in the past. And if your past doesn't say you were a leader, if your past didn't have millionaire in it, if your past didn't have billionaire in it, it's no way that you can go to the future and become that until you recognize that and have your conscious thought start talking about your future and death to your past, meaning death to your personality today. Your personality has to die today so that you can become the millionaire self that you want to become tomorrow, okay? So to change our personalities, we have to change our emotions that we've memorized, okay? This is why it's so hard, because the memorization is our subconscious. Okay, so to change our personalities, which means to change our future, we have to change our emotions, the way that we respond to the bell, okay? The way that we respond to our bells today. So today I want you to write down, what are your bells? What are your trigger points, okay? Maybe you might need someone to tell me, hey, what are my trigger points? What do you see that I do that I just have this response that I'm not getting over? Every time, and here's how you know you have a trigger response. If you keep on talking about the same old things to someone, you're conditioned. Okay, maybe you go to your mentor all the time. Okay, your coach, your upline, whatever you want to call it. And you keep on giving your coach or your mentor the same emotional responses when something happens to your business. Okay, someone drops out of your business, you feel depressed. And you go to, man, this is getting so hard because this. You have memorized emotions. You go look at your back office and you see a couple numbers dropped out. And then you feel bad again. Now you got to go talk. I need motivation upline. Man, I don't know how you do this. You have memorized emotions. You're never going to get past that. You got to change it. You have to stop. You have to cut it off. If your response every single time is to do the same thing, you, my friend, are reliving Groundhog Day every single day of your life. And that's why it's hard. Okay. So now here's what we have to do. We have to change our memorized state of being. So we have to now think about the future event. Okay. So clear That's why your future event has to be so clear. I'm going to become a chairman, and when I become a chairman, I'm going to be making $120,000 in certain cents per year. Man, I can't wait because I'm going to have my CPA that's here. Man, I'm going to have, this is the car I'm going to be driving as a chairman. Man, when I walk that stage with my wife, I'm going to celebrate my team. I'm going to celebrate my organization. I'm going to say hi to my mom. I'm going to go buy this. It's going to be so clear when you stated about what it is you're becoming that eventually is going to become an experience. So imagine telling the story that you are going chairman. You see yourself on the stage. You see everything that's happening. Your bank account, you just got your first check dropped in your account. You feel happy. You were able to pay off all your bills. You don't have no wants. You don't have no worries. The bank account's full. No longer are you stressing about anything. How do you feel? And it's when you feel that emotion, okay? It's when you experience, it's that you have such a clear thought that it becomes a what? An experience. Let me bring this up again. Okay, this is where I'm going to because some of you need the visual. Okay, what I'm trying to get you to have is a manufactured experience. Because what? If we create the experience, we get to create the mood, the temperament, the personality trait. You're like, Randy, I want to be a motivated person. Well, let's think of an experience that will allow you to keep a mood, that will eventually become a temperament. And that temperament will eventually become your personality trait. So we think so hard, meaning you have to be a chairman right now if you want to become a chairman by 2021. You got to do chairman things. You got to create chairman experiences. Even if that's you going to go sit. If you feel like, man, to be chairman, I can go sit in a Lamborghini. Let me go to the Bentley. Let me go to the Bentley dealer. Let me go to the BMW dealer. Let me go look at my mansion that I'm going to have as chairman. Let me go to the golf club or the club that I'm going to be at when I become a chairman. Let me go here. You're creating the environment, the experience. See, I just got to get you to the experience. And if I can get you to the experience, I can eventually get you to the personality trait. And this is why we say act as if. If you see the man the way that he is, he'll get worse because why? He's going into the loop. But if you see him as though what he could be, he can become great. Why? Because we're seeing him in his future. We're seeing his future self. That's what we're seeing. And we're seeing it for him. And so it's when experiences begin to become the emotion event and you start seeing the event ahead of the occurrence, the body, which is now the mind, starts living your future self. Woo! And now you have that person like, man, it seems like everything they touch turns to gold. They're just doing it automatically. Like, Randy, how do you know to do that? I don't know. I just do it. My body has become the mind in a good way. 95% subconsciously, I'm operating on successful traits. Okay? So what we're trying to create for you is I'm trying to condition you and give you successful traits so that you can become the future chairman you're supposed to become, but you won't let us change your personality. Okay? So when your coach is telling you, you need more energy, you need this, you need that, listen. Because they see you for better than who you are. And they're trying to tell you, here's how you're supposed to act. So that can now become your personal trait, okay? And so the best thing that you can do, and here's what we're trying to do. Overcoming your nearly automatic habits, no longer anticipating the future, requires the ability to live greater than time, okay? Because past, okay, is relative to time. This is what overcoming time is, okay? So in order to overcome time, which is our automatic habits, our zombie mode is what I call it. Okay, that means your body today, okay, what you are today is anticipating things happening. Meaning you get into work and you didn't know how you got there. It anticipated that. It knew you were going to get up and go to work. Okay, that's why it just automatically got you there. So we now must, in order to change ourselves, we have to overcome it. And it requires us to live greater than time. Meaning we got to start living in the future. And we only live in the future. If you learn how to live in the present, meaning you learn how to live in the present, okay, and the future, that's when you start making changes. And if you live your future in the present, your future will eventually become your present. Are you understanding me? We have this thing called quantum leaps. I guess that's what we call it, huh? Some of you will call it, you know, and as I bring this to a close, I know we have another talk right after this for our brand new folks, for our IBO training, but let me bring this to a close. Living in the past, which is your future. You know, he talks about that title. Living in the past, which is your future. So you're in a past loop. And so now when you're looking at Matrix, it's as real as you thought, huh? It is real as you thought. Now you get that scenario because all of you right now, if you didn't know it, you've been living in a past loop. Okay? Because 95% of your body is operating without you having to think about it. See, 5% of you today, I need you to start using the 5% you got right now and start really thinking of your future so clear. Okay? That start connecting your emotions, your burning desire. I want it. See, when I became a pilot, folks, I feel this. When I became a pilot, I had a burning desire to the point I started selling stuff. Sold my Navigator with 24-inch rims to go get an airplane because I see my future self as a pilot in the United States Air Force. And I became a pilot, born and raised in Compton, California, gang-infested territory, a leader of leaders, 1% of 1% in the Air Force because I was able to see my future self. What most will call it miracles, right? It was a God thing, okay? You know, if you heard my story, I prayed to God for those things, okay? I was already living the future, and this is why, you know, whatever your foundation is, when you pray, okay, you're praying for future things, okay? Now let's talk about the power of prayer, no matter who you are. The power. Why is prayer so important? Because do you realize when you pray, what are you praying for every time you pray? I will tell you, most of you are praying for your future, aren't you? It's natural for us to pray for, Lord, give me a bigger bank account, okay? Lord, bring me the husband of my dreams. Lord, bring me the wife of my dreams. Lord, give me the house of my dreams. Lord, give me, don't we? So I need you to understand this is why we're going so in the spiritual. You don't even know it. I'm walking down a spiritual path through scientific proof. That's it, okay? This scientifically, this is only 100 years old, okay? I need you to hear me. This is 100 years old, but there have been men that have walked this earth that have applied these things and done great things that we call miracles. Ancient times, before scientific proof. Understand, okay? The proof is here, okay? So all that we have to live is live by the instructions. Okay, and you live by the instructions, you'll start creating your future. That's what it is. So understand the power of prayer, folks. Do not pass up why you pray, okay? Prayer, meditation, however you want to call it, you're living in the present and the future, so therefore you'll start living in the future. And so as we bring this to a close, it says thinking, feeling equals to your environment and your body and time. Learning to think and feel greater than the big three, okay? So that's not allowing your environment to control your thinking, then will eventually put you in the future. The rest of this book is going to teach you how to have these experiences, okay? So as you know, bringing this to a close, folks, what do we got to do? We got to create the experience first. And when we create the experience, we become what we want to become, okay? I see greatness in everybody on this call, okay? I see millionaires on this call, okay? I see future presidents on this call, okay? Future congressmen and women on this call, okay? Millionaires, billionaires on this call, okay? Now it's not crazy to speak to you this way, is it? Okay? Because now you better believe when someone's speaking to you and they're speaking a future into you, they're speaking life into you. When someone's speaking death to you or speaking about your past, they're trying to hurt you. You understand that? Okay, they may not physically try to hurt you, but when they're speaking to you in your past, okay, they're trying to hurt you because they're bringing up memories. When someone says, "Randy, you remember, man, you came a long way, but I remember when you was," and they're trying to bring your past back into your future. Okay, and now when I listen, that's a threat on me. You're trying to bring my no, I don't want my past. I don't want to remember that stuff. No. Okay, I only want to remember my future self. I got a short memory. Okay, for me right now, my generation is on the line. Okay, for me right now, my legacy is on the line. Okay, I can't afford to have negative people. I can't afford to have past people who want to bring up my past. Okay? If your old friends want to keep on bringing up the past, you got to let them go if you're trying to go somewhere. Okay. If people in your circle trying to keep you to be the old you, hey, see, because that's what's familiar to us. Oh man, you didn't change. You forgot about the little people. What are they saying? They're saying you're no longer the past person, and they want to keep the past person. Do they mean harm? Not really. They don't mean it physically, but are they hurting you physically? Yeah, they're hurting your physical future. They're hurting the future you. They're talking to the future you. Hey, come back over here. You can't go make 100,000 a month. Get back over here. Who do you think you are? They're talking to your future self. Don't leave us. And folks, this is why elevation requires separation. Let's go. That's our mentorship call today, folks. If I can give you any call to action, don't run to the familiar today, okay? Today, your conditioning starts right now. I need you to go out right now. If you haven't been making sales in your business today, okay, you haven't been as productive as you wanted to be. You haven't been productive as a person. You've been in the fuck. I want to tell you to break it right now. Do something you never would have done. I want you to get in your uncomfortable zone. You said, typically, Brandon, when I get off these calls, I tell people that I'm showing people, but I'm not really showing people. I want you to get off this call and go show 100 people. Try to show 100 people in one day and see what happens to your business. See what happens to your future self. See that future chairman popping up because you did something you would never do. You went to work. It's time to stop pretending, because pretending eventually becomes our real self. Okay? Pretending to work, eventually that's who you become, a pretender of work. So let's really go work. Today I want to challenge each person on this call. Maybe you didn't intend on showing 10 people today for your business. I want to challenge you. I don't know how. Remember, it's not about the how for us. It's about the thinking in the future. Where am I going to get these 10 people from? Well, let me just go to action. Like my wife said, talk about Jesus. Listen, Jesus didn't meet people at their house. He met them along the way to where they were going to. Okay. We can talk about all the different things that happen. Wherever you're going, it's a halfway thing. Today, go show. You say you want to go chairman, go show the plan. And that's going to get it done. So that is our call. And that's what we do, folks. And in everything that we do, let's continually leave a legacy. That's my call, folks. Let's go. Let's go. Your legacy is on the line.
Legacy. I can see the future. Legacy. I know who I am. Legacy. I think I can feel my legacy.
Let's go. It's your time. Let's go. Kings, queens on this call. Let's go. Millionaires on this call. Let's go. Billionaires on this call. Let's go. You are already great. You have everything that you need to be successful. You have every program in you to be successful. There is no difference between you and anyone in this company. There's no difference between you and anyone who's already successful. The only difference is you just have to start thinking about who you are. What does your future self look like? What will you become? What is your I am statement? I am great. I am a great husband. I am a great business partner. I am a great person. Let's go. Greatness is in you.
I can see the future. Legacy. I know who I am. Legacy. I think I can feel my legacy. Legacy. Check. Deep breath. I give all my love to you, baby. Keep sweat. Give me 20 more miles. I don't need rest. I'm halfway to goals I haven't even dreamed yet. And I don't need money. I need faith. People thinking that I'm some sort of DJ, but I'm a poet and a man and a troubadour. I'm divine light hidden in the human form. It doesn't matter what you do, it's what you do it for. There are some places that you can't take a Uber toward. Love people, keep a brave heart. Don't make guns, make art. I got sequoia trees cheering me on. Wherever I am is where I belong. Some of my fam is buried and gone. I'm trying to learn more things I can share in my songs. Like life is a curtain that hides the divine. You can peek behind that when you quiet the mind. I rely on something stronger than me. And all my songs will live much longer than me. That's legacy. I can see the future. Legacy. I know who I am. Legacy. I think I can feel my legacy. Legacy.